Hi, welcome to my show where I get to interview really talented and great Michiganders. Like I have Sylvia Hubbard here. I am so happy that you're able to come. I have not seen you in way too long, right?
Yeah.
It's been a long time. We're both very busy women,
Right.
but all in good ways.
Yeah.
Yes,
Definitely.
yes.
It's a good busy.
It's a good busy. So first, I want to just make a couple of announcements. I just want to mention that on February 4th, I'm going to be speaking at the Center of Enlightenment. It's on Sunday. Service starts at 10 a.m. and it's in Ferndale. March 22nd, I will be at Arise Spiritual Retreat and Wellness, which is also at the Center of Enlightenment at 7 p.m. March 3rd, there's a 3-part workshop series called Transforming Your Life Story at the Royal Oak Library. And it's going to be on Wednesdays, March 14, 21, and 28th. And you can look up my website, weamnemu.com, to get this information. October 5th to the 7th, there's a Spiritual and Writing Summit at Columbier Retreat and Conference Center. And November 10th, 2008. Oh, I think. Okay.
No.
I think I was having the camera on you the whole time.
That's all right.
Okay. Well,
You'll
that's.
see a lot of me.
Oh, yes. Well, you're very beautiful, so I don't think anybody minded
thank
that. I was just checking if you're listening. I'm going to check the video. November 10th is the Detroit Working Writers Conference at the
Yay.
MSU Management Education Center in Troy,
Wow.
which Sylvia is going to be presenting there.
Yes.
Yes, and we have not figured out what she's gonna exactly the workshop she's gonna do because of the fact she's just way too talented, and we have to sit here and figure out how can she best serve the attendees because
Right.
you've authored over 40 books.
Yeah, definitely.
That is amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, how did you do that?
I usually start off with the grace of God. And just the spirit of, first starting with myself and making myself happy. And I knew that writing made me happy. And as a single mom, I focused on, doing those things that made me happy. So being a mom, writing, and trying to mesh those two worlds together, first it was rocky, but then, I kind of just said, hey, I'm going to do this. And the kids jumped on board. So, yeah, I just love it. So I used to say I write because I love it, and I make time because I love it, which is what people mostly do.
Now, when you started, how long ago was that?
Oh, good Lord.
I mean, for the things that you have accomplished, it would seem that you've been working on this for many years.
Right. Well, I've been writing literally, according to my mom, since I was about 6. I started writing stories, and that's because I used to lie to her really bad. And then she would beat me within an inch of my life and then make me go write my lie down and then come back to her and tell her the lie again. And I started to realize, like, the lie looked better on paper than, less painful putting it on paper than telling her. And, like, my pain became my pleasure. And I just started really loving storytelling, just bringing to life something just from your imagination. It was just really awesome. So I enjoyed it.
So is your mom still around? Has
Yep.
she been able to see your success?
She's still around, and she's always encouraged me. I kind of, life gets in the way, so I had started doing it for so long. Then, college, babies, and, just life in general, you start to lose focus of what really made you happy or what you really want it to be. No one, you get to 25 and you forget at 12 what you said you wanted to do, I think everybody is like that. And it was kind of like my mom put me into focus, kind of like when I was, I had gotten separated from my husband, and then it was kind of like I'm struggling for money, and my mom always told me, your purpose will give you prosper. And I never understood what that meant.
Mhm.
Your purpose and your passion will lead you to prosper. And she just said, you just need a little bit of money. Why don't you just publish one of your stories, so and sell a couple of copies, just so you could have some gas money. So the first intention was, I just needed gas money, so I published my book. And as long as I could get that third week of gas money right before the end of the month. So I started publishing my books, like, okay, I got gas money for the rest of the month. And then it started to be a labor of love, where I was just having fun, just writing stories and then publishing them and then teaching other people how to do the same. And it just became like, I can do this. I can show people, I can write, and I can publish on my own.
I love the fact that your mom played that kind of role in
Yeah,
your life. I
kinda
mean,
like
what a story. She seems
mentor
like,
and a
like a
guide,
strong
yeah.
woman with strong faith.
Yes,
and
she is.
do you mind if you give me her phone number when we're done? I have two kids, a 11-year-old thinking she's 21, and my son is 8. And what she had you do regarding the writing and the lies, I need some lessons, definitely, especially since she ended up bringing up such a wonderful, inspiring women. I know a lot of people that are really influenced, inspired by you, and I mean, that's not really hard to imagine.
You've been
well, it's true, and I was one of them. I don't remember initially. I came to one of your workshops. I believe you had one of your kids there.
Most likely.
Going underneath the table, doing something. And I looked at that, and at the time, I think I was a new mom, going crazy.
Right.
When I saw that, I was like, oh, look at her. You were so positive about it. And you were just like going, you were just so easygoing. And it was women like you that kind of when you see that, you see that, oh, I can do this.
Yeah.
There's, it's not, doesn't mean it's easy, but you make it seem like it's doable. So that makes a difference when you see that a young woman and young mother. And at that time, you were already very successful. I mean, I'm talking like 10 years ago.
Right.
But and you're still, you're founder of
Motown Writers Network.
Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, I started the group basically because I was getting a whole bunch of knowledge about publishing. I had to learn it on my own due to the fact, the government says you got to feed the kids. I couldn't afford to go to conferences or go to these huge lectures where people were learning how to publish. So a lot of the stuff, I'm stuck in a library all day with 3 kids, just hauling them around, and all this knowledge was just sitting there. So I actually built a website where I could feed it into this website where articles and everything. So I could create a directory of trying to remember different things. Well, I forgot I had put a subscription box at the top of the website, and people started subscribing to the website.
Oh, wow.
So, like, at the end of the year, I built this website in 2000, and then at the end of that year, I had over, 75 subscribers. And then the next year, I think it jumped to almost 200. So people just started subscribing, and these were articles that I found, and I would read them, and then I would store them on the website. So it would send out a general newsletter automatically every time I stored them. And it was more like a blog. So it was a content management system. So you could go in and look up these articles and everything. And people were like, oh, okay, well, how can I join your network, or how can I join your group? And I was like, no, it's not official. It's just, it was more for me. It was more a selfish intent, but it just became kind of like a self-love kind of thing that just spread out.
This is like what your mom was saying. How did she say that? You follow your passion.
Your passion and your passion and your anyway, your passion will always lead you to prosper.
Yes,
it will always make you prosper. So
and that's a great example of it. Is that you didn't even really intend, and it just manifested.
And then now we have close to over 200,000 on the mailing list, where we send things out, and we send articles, updated events, things about different authors, all in Michigan, and people just basically really they open it up and they read it and they love it. So that's how a lot of people who I've never met will just walk up to me and be like, oh my God, if you had not sent me that information, I'd have never known how to do this, or now I understand this, or oh my God, you taught me this. And I'd never met them before in my life. But I guess, I always say, sometimes the information that you hold inside of you can help somebody else. So a master cannot be a master without students. So you do have to share your knowledge. And I was getting all this knowledge, and I really wanted it to go out to people. So I love it that people are subscribing, they're asking questions, they're challenging me to find out more information. So they're keeping me on my toes. So yes.
Yes. So it's like you built a community.
Yes.
Obviously, you built a community, and it kept growing. And like you said, with regards to service, I think that's another aspect that people, as talented as you are, so initially your talent can get you so much, but then there's something that happens where the growth has to come full circle, meaning that there has to be some kind of a service in your work eventually.
Right, definitely.
Yeah. And that comes natural. It's not like you're really just trying to do that so that you can grow. It just
it really didn't. But I love helping people out. I love being an asset instead of a liability. That's always been important to me as a woman, as a mother, and then even showing my kids, even if we have nothing, we can still go out and help people. So, me going out and do lectures or just talk to people. And sometimes my kids will be like, Ma, you be there all day, and you know how they just stand and they wait. They don't bother me. If we have to do this, we have to do this. And it's so amazing how they knew this made me happy, and as long as I was happy, they were happy. So Queen Bee always rules. I usually tell mothers that. I was like, always make sure your kids know that this is your queendom and they're princesses and princes, but you are the queen. And that's how the whole story goes. It's just really funny for me because they've always been, okay, let's make sure mom is taken care of and then we can get what we want. And that's how it's always been in our life. And the kids have just worked with me on my writing. I mean, even when they were babies, I even taught them to sign. So like I could type all day. So if they wanted a bottle, they had a sign for bottle. If they wanted their diaper changed, they had a sign for that. So that way I could write more.
Okay, well, listen, like I said, don't forget to give me your mom's number before we leave from here. Because every time you're telling me something, I'm imagining your mom, being the initial one teaching you this, and you're obviously passing it on. There seems to be such structure and respect, and
but
that's
I
really
learned,
valuable.
Yeah, I learned from her. Like she showed me my passion. So what I did for my kids, I showed them their passion. And once you get your passion inside of you, it becomes an addiction. It's like smoking. You're always thinking about it. You're always wanting to do it. And I figured if I could get them addicted to something other than me,
and something good, like
and
you're
something
addicted to
good
something
and positive,
good. Yes,
they bother me less.
That's the secret.
That's the secret. And that's what will happen. I get them where they want it to be. Oh, here's what you need. You want to write, you want to draw, you want to do this. Okay, let's get you situated. I would hear hide no hair from them. I could write all day. I'd come around, either they're passed out from just doing it or just taking care of themselves.
Because it's not like you're just neglecting them and just, I don't care, I'm just going to do my writing. But you have found, just like you recognize the importance of your passion, so you paid attention to theirs and just not found a way to maneuver that
it's
so
like
that it would work for both of you guys.
It's a selfish love. That's what I tell people.
So many things I got to learn.
And people say, well, as a mother, you got to make sacrifices. You got to put your own happiness aside and make sure your children are happy. Well, you can, and my mother did give me that advice. If you get them to work around what you love and you can get that into your life and their life, they will automatically see, okay, this works. If I've worked my passion, I will prosper. So, and that's what they saw from me. So I was an example for it.
Yes, and that's what I mean. I think when I saw you at the workshop is when I saw how you were managing
Right.
with the kid around, going underneath the table. And it made me realize, like, well, yeah, you know what? You can be a mother and you can pursue your passion, because otherwise what would happen is also you would become, bitter.
Yeah, you
And
do.
you become bitter, and you don't want to show your children, because that's also something that they can pick up.
Right.
I mean, you don't want your daughters to grow up feeling like they
Right.
have to miss out. And we live in a country where we can do these things.
Do
There's
multiple
ways.
things,
There's
yeah.
with the technology. There's a
Yeah.
lot of opportunities available. I think the secret and the key is finding them.
Right.
A lot of people just sit and complain, and that energy can
Definitely.
be put into
To better usage.
into better use, into their dreams. And
But you're an example. Yeah. You're definitely an example for others, your kids, people around you, your community, your neighborhood, your city, your state, your country. You are the example. So instead of, like you said, sitting around and complaining, don't do that. You can focus on, okay, here's the passion. All I got to do is find that time. And I usually tell people, if you just work on your passion 10 minutes a day, you can master what you want to do. There's no excuse. 10 minutes, that's 2 commercial breaks broken up in 5 minutes.
I know a lot of people would think that that's an exaggeration, but it really isn't.
It's the
because
truth.
that 10 minutes starts developing little by little by little, like anything else. And then the
Right.
next thing you know, you're putting 2 hours. And because at some point, kids' lives change. They get older, they go
Right.
to school. But it's putting that commitment in that
Right.
makes a big difference, rather than just giving in and saying, I don't have time.
Right.
You know.
And I wanted to do it while they were young. I wanted to learn how to work my passion, because I went to college in Florida, and I saw so many people who had retired that were now old. They had, moved on. Their family was doing what, their kids and everything were gone. And they were like, okay, now I'm going to start doing what I want to do. Now I'm going to write that book, and now their health was gone. They missed out on all these opportunities, but, they can write the book now. And I just told myself, I said, I don't want to wait that long in order to see like a reader run up to me and say, hey, this was awesome, or being able to travel when I want it and say, wow, people can read and recognize my work. I wanted to do it while it was young, and I wanted my kids to see it. So,
that is so beautiful. But there's this aspect of you're so observant too. So it's, and I do that too. I've seen even from movies. Sometimes I'll get inspired. I don't know, I fell in love with this movie, Shirley Valentine, at like age 21. And she was in her 40s. I wasn't married. I was single. I hadn't found even the person, that I was going to marry. But I fell in love with the message. I fell in love that the character, she was married, her kids were older, and she felt like, wow, I haven't really used up my life like I wanted.
Right.
It's kind of what you said about when you're younger. What were you saying about 12 years old?
yeah,
the
you
dreams.
forget those
You
dreams
forget
you
your
had.
dreams.
Yeah.
And that's what her message was in the movie. But for some reason, something about that resonated in me to the point where I ended up packing up and going to Greece.
Wow.
But it makes a difference. Those people, those influencers, someone like you don't know. Sometimes, for instance, I'm sure, the director or the writer has no clue this movie
how it's
has
gonna
such an
affect
effect. But it really did, because her words, when she would sit and say, why do we have all these feelings and we never use them?
Right.
And so that was a powerful movie, and those messages stuck in my head.
Yeah,
So that
they opened that door.
They opened that door.
They turned that key.
And you were doing the same thing, but in
Yeah.
a different way, observing, even in your 20s,
Yeah,
obviously.
just looking at people and seeing how life had passed them by. And I heard a lot of the word "I wish," and I didn't want to be in that position when I got that age. I didn't want to say, I wish I had done it. Oscar Wilde has a wonderful quote that says, never do anything you really want to do unless you're sober.
Oh.
And even though, we go through life and we're saying, oh, I wish I could do this, or I wish I had the bravery to step out and do this. It's really about just being yourself and being there in the moment and remembering everything and just having fun with it. Life has a lot of tricks and turns and serious moments, but just living life is what's important, and doing it when you have the energy and when you can do it, and when it feels like you should do it. Because like you become bitter. You
become bitter, and and I could tell. I'm going to show the book that's coming out. You can tell you're not a bitter author at all. Look at this. I mean, what a beautiful cover.
I love that.
You're a best-selling author. You've won awards, over 40 books. I'd love to show the trailer because you have one hot trailer.
I always say I'm bad on paper so I can be good in life.
Yes, so since you have this hot trailer, which I have to show,
yes.
And then we'll have just a few minutes. What I would like you to do is, maybe share some advice for up-and-coming writers especially.
Definitely.
And actually what I found is most people that give advice, whether they're writers or anything, but particularly with that, because we're both, I'm the vice president of Detroit Working Writers, you're a member of Detroit Working Writers, so we kind of are with that community. But people can apply advice that writers give, filmmakers, anybody, and they can apply it in their life regardless of what their talent they're doing.
Right.
But let's watch your trailer.
Okay.
I love it. Now, what is? Yeah. Tell me a little bit about it.
I wanted to send a simple message. In our society now, we deal so much with how we look or how other people see us. And I wanted to get a message out there that, beauty shouldn't be found out in the world. Beauty is always inside. Everything we need is inside. Someone told me a long time ago that everything that you need in life, you already have from the time you're born. So to fix problems, to be who you want to be, to do what you want to do, you already have those tools when you are born. And God doesn't fix problems. He gets you to your purpose. So if you already have the tools to fix your problems, all you do have to do is just walk into your purpose. So in this book, I wanted to show how Madison, who was smart, intelligent, she had everything she needed, but she was looking in the wrong direction to where she needed to be. And once she learned that, once she lost everything, once she had to sacrifice everything in order to find, her where she needed to be, she found that beautiful. And was rewarded with even more beautiful. So
I gotta ask you seriously. I don't think you've ever written nonfiction, have you?
No.
I think you should.
Everyone says that.
I really think you should write an inspirational book, because I think part of the thing that you were describing with regards to how many subscribers you got, the information that you're providing, everything that you just talked about right now, you could take these words. You have a book right there. Especially since you can write fast. Really, you can just take each section into a chapter, because I think it's very inspirational what you say. It's very deep, and I think women, especially girls, can be so influenced. And at a certain point when you become a mom, especially, you realize that the best people or places or whoever you want to influence are those around you.
Right.
Everything is within you, but then also sometimes people, to create change, they go out of their way. They go to other countries. They try to, which there's nothing wrong with that. But
and sometimes it's just arm's length.
That's the
It's
point.
arm's length away.
Sometimes
And
that's what
we
it
forget
is.
it.
And sometimes you end up having to travel the world before figuring that out, which I did. It's
Right.
like I went and I saw, and that's great. I loved everything I've experienced. But then you understand that, we have everything here. We just need to look. And then once you start looking, you realize, oh my gosh, this is going to take me a lifetime, and I'm not even
Right.
going to find all the treasures and the beauty
And
here.
that's how I told my son just the other day. We were talking, and I told him, I was like, he's out in Arizona, and he's all alone, and he's, living his life. And I said, don't forget to always forget about your nose. And I said, I know that sounds crazy, but we do. Our brain literally erases the fact that we can see our nose. And I said, sometimes what you are looking for is right in front of you. And because
gotta
you
write
have
that
decided to
down.
blind
Don't
yourself
forget your
against it.
nose.
And sometimes we don't see it because we choose it's this there, and we don't value it, but it's actually something very important. It's something that we need. And sometimes it's just something we can use right in front of us.
I love that. You see, don't forget your nose.
Don't forget
That's
your
a
nose.
chapter right there.
Yes,
That's a chapter. I'm not kidding.
But I did enjoy writing this book. I did enjoy just bringing Madison to the forefront of kind of like telling people, look inside yourself. Everything, your strength, your beauty, your power, your intelligence, it's all right there. It's nowhere else. It's all inside.
So, Sylvia, I have literally a minute for you to give.
Oh,
Well,
okay.
actually,
Yes.
you know what? You've been, I feel like this whole talk, you've really been so inspiring and giving so much advice. But if you have one last words for that last minute, what would you have? What kind of advice or something to give, particularly up-and-coming writers with regards to that craft?
There are no rules to writing. So stop being your biggest barrier to what you want to do. And that would be the simple advice, is that we become our own worst enemy in harming ourselves from getting to what we want to do. And that really goes with everybody who is listening.
Yeah, any talent.
Any talent.
Actually, any talent. Yes, I love that. You're right. I know so many people, because I also coach writers. And when they start talking and telling me about their life, and I'm like, oh my gosh, you can turn this into a book. This is wonderful.
Right.
And what I notice is they don't think so. They don't think their life I'm telling them, I'm a published author.
Right.
They know that, they trust me, and they don't own it.
Right.
That they do have a great story inside of them, or they can do fiction if they
And
don't.
I always
but-
say your mess is your message. So what you have done, what you have gone through, you owe it to everybody else to share it, so they don't do the same thing.
And maybe if they looked at it that way, that really you
Yeah.
are serving by sharing. You end up feeling great, and then there's something in it that's outside.
And you're
of
going to
this.
get a blessing from
You're gonna
it.
get
So just go ahead and do it.
Well, I so loved having you.
Thank you. I enjoy being here.
I loved having you here, and I can't wait till I see you at the conference.
yes,
'Cause-
definitely.
And really, I encourage people to come and work, because obviously from what they're seeing, you can help a great deal. So,
Definitely.
yes,
Yep,
yes.
I'll be at the conference, and I'll also be in Pontiac this Saturday.
Oh,
so
cool. Where
Pontiac Library.
Okay, well, they
at
can look
4
you up.
p.m. Yep.
SylviaHubbard.com. Okay, everybody. So thanks for being on the show. And I kind of got the camera things mixed up here, but hey, we both showed.
I know.
Have a good night.